You know who you gotta pray for too, who had a very
Watch it on
big,
either one.
Pastor Bob.
But then
Yeah.
Starts right now.
And if you find out any more about him, let me know. Hey, Ray,
Hey,
we are
you can't.
Just, I mean, I don't mind sitting on vacation, I thought I want to get up in the middle of the meeting and walk out.
good, thank you.
Well, you don't want to sit next to, I'm getting a little jealous. Ray's getting on TV a little more than me lately.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
I know.
It's popping up all over the place.
I go with the group. When you go, you gotta be by yourself.
Now that's not.
And I don't have to sit up and hit something else with a
I
straight
probably need a
finger or
group,
something.
because you got a nice looking group there. It'd probably help me.
But
Yeah,
one
you
technical
got it.
expertise
Good looking
is my
group
new
right there.
tablet I got
There
for
you go.
Christmas. I couldn't get it to
You
work.
see where I
I called
hide.
my boyfriend out at work.
I know, it's nice.
She's like, I'll figure it out when I get home.
Angela
Just let it
texted
be.
me,
Set it down
And
and
so
walk
then I
away.
went to, Channel 19, not Channel 8, Channel 8,
Okay.
Fox 8, yeah. Angela caught it right away. She says, the weeded singers are on thing and that.
In fact, one thing he said, all you gotta do is put an attachment in the email. I was like, oh, please, Lord, do not, just do not. He was like,
Ready to go?
Oh, no. Well, they have.
Walk away, then
they
I'll
have
handle
a
it.
cook station right there in the studio.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, so when they're,
And so one side, they have, they have.
Yeah, that's
they
my
have a
passion, Jeff. I could go on all night about
they have
that
this
stuff.
platform like we used to.
How are you guys doing, Mary?
That's a small.
Well, I'm just starting back again because, the kids and
Personal
stuff.
interviews, and then over in the corner, they have this.
We're gonna go to do the Dragon Tail and, did you? Oh, that's cool. My brother-in-law's got a trike. We're gonna trailer the trike and the bike. We're not gonna ride there. No, I know, but
But, one of
We
my
are
brothers-
live.
are we okay? So we're ready then. Okay.
ready?
Are you guys, Brian,
Yeah.
Ray, everybody good? Okay. John's gonna be cautious and stay in the back, and that's okay. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Are we good with the live stream too?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to the regular council meeting of the Village of Walton Hills of Tuesday, January 17th, 2023 at 7:01 p.m. Second order of business is Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for our deceased residents, Barbara Rizzo and Frank Gaglione, and also ask for a moment of silence for the people of the Ukraine. Okay, item 4, roll call. We do, yeah, I didn't, usually roll call. I was gonna say Nicole Sell is filling in for Angela Rivet. She's our new Assistant Fiscal Officer. So just kind of bear with her tonight, and also want to welcome any residents that are watching us live stream too. I'm sorry, go ahead, Nicole.
Councilman Nielsen,
Here.
Councilman Brenner Miller,
Here.
Councilman Allen,
Here.
Councilman Whedon,
Here.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Here.
All of council present, along with our law solicitor, John Montello, who is in the back of council chambers, along with myself, and as I said earlier, Nicole Sell, our Assistant Fiscal Officer. Any business before council? Any persons have anything at this time? Yes, Tom.
Tom Nowicki, 17612 Egbert Road. Nicole, you may not know because you're new right now. Any idea on when the audit, the state audit that started in the summer? Do you know anything what's going on?
I do not. I have not heard anything. I haven't even actually gotten a computer, so I don't have a whole lot of knowledge quite at the moment.
Okay. Anybody from the finance committee know anything more?
No, Mr.
Well,
Mayor?
Yeah, I can, no, Tom, I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, yeah, to me, it's a long time to,
Yeah, well, that's, they were, they apologized for the last time they were behind. They're just, a lot of it is staffing. A lot of that has nothing to do with us specifically, but they are behind. I'll see, if I can get
a lot of times they
answer.
wait for paperwork.
Yeah.
We don't have this receipt, stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
from what I understand, though.
Yeah, and they'll wait only so long and then they'll,
Yeah, they come in a couple weeks and they go away and then they wait for
Yeah,
paperwork. So,
yeah.
okay, if you keep us in
Yeah,
that.
I can do that.
I notice, Jennifer, you mentioned there's a February 10th finance committee planned, okay? And with that, on December 20th at a council meeting, I brought up what was happening with the dispatch department as far as Oakwood. And I haven't heard anything, and I want to go direct to Mary Brenner Miller, and I'll address you, Mayor, later, and the other two from the safety committee. Mary, who is in charge of our dispatch department?
Well, I would think it was the chief.
Somebody schedules, probably not the chief.
Is it-
Who's kind of like runs the show? It's got to be somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shannon. Shannon's our
She's the head
dispatch manager.
dispatcher.
Okay, I don't know her last name. I don't know her. I
Yeah,
wouldn't know her in a crowd.
she's been with us a long.
What's her last name?
Cartier.
Could you spell it? I
Cartier.
can't quite hear you.
Cartier. It's like Cardiet, I think.
Cartier.
T-I.
Like the
Like the
jewelers.
jewelry, that's right.
Okay, and with that, a follow-up, when I brought up at the December 20th meeting, I saw a lot of surprises up here when I said, we losing Oakwood Dispatch? Mary, are we losing Oakwood Dispatch?
I do not know, and I can check with Shannon.
Well, you don't have to, I can answer that.
Well, Don would know.
Yeah, they,
I'm surprised all you don't know if Don knows.
yeah, well, no, that's not true. That's not true at all. We talked about
Oh, it should be.
dispatch
If you're losing,
in executive session and stuff.
Yeah,
Things we did. What they don't know is, they said they wanted to go to the end of this month, and then they weren't sure if they were even gonna go further, so we didn't have a day. We're okay, all they're doing, their contract officially ended, the end of this year, okay?
I think
It's
that's
not
a
that-
5-year contract, correct?
It's not, I think it was 5 or 3, I have to look. It wasn't that they left it, they just aren't renewing the contract, but they did ask if we could go, as I mentioned in the meeting, a little longer. And so that's what we're doing at this time. So whenever they decide to stop, we're good with that. We're not just gonna leave, but they didn't renew the contract. And we're okay with that.
Mr. Mayor,
$160,000.
$160,000 is, but that's not after our expenses. With that contract, we have to supply 2 dispatchers, okay? A lot of times we only have 1, and actually.
Meaning
we're-
two, meaning, just clarity.
All time, at all
24
times.
hours a
Yeah,
day, you have to have
24.
2 instead of 1 if
Right.
we were just.
So we have to
one.
pay that extra salary,
Right,
okay, benefits and stuff.
yeah.
We actually feel it might even be better with them, that sometimes we're even paying more. If we were to stay with that, if they were to stay with us, we would have had to renegotiate it, Tom, because there wasn't a lot of money in it. And they left because they went to Bedford into their, like, a more of a central dispatch.
Oh,
Bedford
well,
Heights, yeah.
if they went into Bedford Heights, then they're gone.
Well, no, they're not gone yet, but that's where they're going.
Oh,
That's
so
where
we
they're-
are still dispatching, this is January, whatever, 17,
Yes.
18.
There was
We're
one
still
time they said they
dispatching.
wanted to go at the end of the month. We'll see. But we'll work with them. It doesn't matter to us. I'm not gonna say, if they're not ready to go, we're not gonna just say, we're done. We're gonna prorate them and charge them for it.
what my point is if they are going, then that's why I pointed to you, Mary.
Right. I
And
knew
I
they
call,
were going.
I could say Councilman Brenner, I know you married, then I would say then we need a safety committee meeting to talk about this, because you look at all the expenses, and then I would say to Nicole, who's fresh on the job, what does it cost us for, because Oakwood's here? When Oakwood wasn't here, what does it cost us for manpower, retirement, whatever? They're not union, correct, Mayor? They're not like the police have a set contract.
We don't do anything with their employees, Tom. We don't pay any of their employees or whatever, it's strictly
Well,
a
there are
contract.
employees, aren't they, in the dispatch department? If you have two a shift?
Yeah,
There
but
are
it's kind of separated out there a little bit, but our dispatchers are non-union, yes.
They're
We're talking
non-union.
about the
Okay,
dispatch.
that was my straight question.
Yeah,
We're non-union. So with that, that's why I pointed to you, Mary, is that if there's changes, I think we should have a safety committee to say, let's go over the numbers. And you may talk to it in your session. We don't know anything out here, what you talk about
Right, right,
sessions, until you bring it out. And that's why I'm here to let's find out, because we have, say we have, I don't know how many, Nicole, you may find out before next meeting, how many full-time and part-time do we have for 24 hours? Because you got to figure vacations, all that. I don't know if you have 10 employees. I have no idea what you have full-time, part-time. So that would be something to learn and maybe a cost. But maybe you don't have to if Oakwood, stays for some reason for 6 months. Who knows? All right. But that's what I would say in the future. And then I would say to Mary, if you're still on, I think you still are on the safety committee, should you have a meeting to see is it Mary, it's still you, Mary. And then, of course, everything's getting regionalized, just like fire departments. Way back, everybody had their own fire department. Now all of a sudden it's getting a little more regionalized. Well, we have the Cuyahoga Valley Dispatch. I'm not saying, I'd have to sit down with the chief and say, give me your pluses and minuses on why to have your own dispatch. No, I'm familiar with all the streets. I know that Logan's and Walton Hills. A new dispatcher may not, or a dispatcher from a different city dispatching to Oakwood, and they may not know that, so there is some reason to have your own, but there's also a cost basis. And, with 2,300 villagers, we can't say, I like our dispatchers because I like that person, I like that person. If there's 10 or 15 dispatchers, you can't go with friends and personalities. I'm not saying anybody is. You have to do
I don't know.
right
where that
for
would come from.
2,300 villagers, money.
I have a hard time even knowing half the dispatchers, but.
Yeah,
But.
but I mean, you get my idea.
Yeah.
It's just like saying, let's get rid of, have part of the service department. Well, I like this guy, I like this. Well, you gotta do what money is right for 2,300 villagers. That's what I'm trying to get at, so.
Right. I can give you quite a bit about regional dispatching. I meet with a lot of mayors, talk with a lot of mayors. A lot of them are in regional dispatch communities. Bedford Heights was one of the few that was by themselves. That is probably one we would think about if we would go, only because they just have themselves and maybe Oakwood here, okay? If Oakwood goes there, that's what Oakwood's saying they're gonna do. The thing is with the Southeast dispatch, they got a lot of growing pains. A lot of mayors aren't happy, okay? But what they did, they dissolved their own local dispatch. There's a lot of things. There's no doubt that I'm trying to find the negative besides expenses, maybe, Mr. Nowicki, in having your own dispatch. Because your dispatchers get to know the houses, the residents, the size of your community. When you get in these large dispatches, guess what? There's a Colonial Court, if I'm not mistaken, in Bedford. There's one over here. They're having situations where that ambulance went to this community instead of this community. You might have 1 or 2 minutes, but 1 or 2 minutes. So you might be, we can look at expense, not a bad idea, nothing to review it. We talked about even maybe doing something, looking at the fire contract or whatever. But right now, I think, this is just me, but maybe the safety committee will feel different. Doing our own dispatch is probably one of the best things for the residents. Now, maybe we'll find out, maybe we can go cheaper and think, but that's one of those things you gotta weigh out. I know what is the price for safety?
Well, I understand, and.
What is that?
No, I know.
That's a tough one.
Well, see, I don't know the answers.
Oh, no, I'm not asking you to give the answer.
No,
I'm just giving you where my thinking, that's all.
I'm fact finding myself right here, and if Oakwood does decide to go, I think it's responsible to call a safety committee meeting, get the chief here and educate us. Nicole might come up with, we have 8 full-time and 6 part-time, and it costs us this much. If minus Oakwood, then it costs us this much. So you got a number. I mean, it's the responsible thing to do for 2,300 residents. That's all I'm saying. When the time comes, and what is Cuyahoga Valley Dispatch? And call a person from Cuyahoga Valley and say, make a presentation, make your pitch. This is all stuff that you're all thinking about, and I'm thinking about, and I'm just bringing it out. Because
I haven't even asked for that, but technically by Ohio Revised Code, to put something on a COW meeting agenda, a council person needs, am I right, Mr.? Needs 3 votes. We used to follow it, but why not put it on there? I would have no
Right.
problem as the chair if somebody wants to talk about something.
sure,
Why couldn't we?
discussion is good, sure.
But I will tell you this, and maybe I'm wrong for it, but if I don't think it's the best thing for the village, I'm not gonna bring it to the table. I'm gonna bring to the table what I think is the best. I can tell you right now, keeping our own dispatch right now, even if it's a little more money, is the best thing and the safest thing. We got one of the 8 oldest besides Beechwood. We're right there with our aging community. We have a very aging community. Chances of needing an ambulance within the best response time for all of us is great. Probably will never need a fire truck for a fire, but boy, we're gonna need that ambulance, just like we fought to get this ambulance down here to make our response time faster. Having a good dispatch number, not that I'm saying those other ones are bad, and I think overall, those central dispatches do a great job. I don't wanna ever lead that. But the smaller, like anything, the smaller, sometimes you have more control. Having more control over something isn't so bad. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean the safety committee might have a different opinion.
And I think it's responsible to have a meeting and to put everything out on the table. If I was sitting in any of your people's chairs, and I don't want anybody's job here, that's the first thing I would say. Even if I was a 4-to-1 minority, I'd say, you got to get a safety committee. People got to know what the chief thinks about this. People got to know what Cuyahoga Valley Dispatch thinks about this. Do we have 24-hour ambulance right now in that building?
Yes. Sometimes if that's in the contract they provided. There is times when they might have, they do respond over there, but that's,
You have community response, sure. If somebody's in trouble right over there in Sagamore Hills, sure, you help them out.
Right.
But so we do have the 24-hour ambulance, and that's pretty much what
We have sleeping quarters downstairs.
yeah, and we're 40% retirees about in our village, and that's what people care about the most. Fire, how often, I can't think why Garfield Heights, Maple Heights, or Bedford have so many fire departments, so many buildings, when you can stone's throw to each community. That 30 years ago, I was thinking of that and talking to my dad about it. Why does everybody have all these fire trucks? Paramedics, whole different story. Oh, God, that's a whole nother different thing. So with that, Mayor, you know my thoughts, and we'll see what happens. In future meetings, could you just on your own, Mayor, or someone say, we still got Oakwood, or, just keep the line going, the communication line. Where's Glenwellow in all this? I hadn't heard that word from anybody.
I think they're going to with Oakwood.
Now you're talking, I know.
It's the same contract. We don't have a separate.
No, but it's more money.
No, not
So
for us.
now-
We don't lose any more. It's the same. It's one.
Glenn Willow's already gone.
Mr.
Yeah.
Mayor,
I don't even think, go ahead.
I'd like to chime in.
Sorry.
We can my next meeting was scheduled in June. I can certainly move that up. I do know what Angela had told us that you probably weren't privy to. And it was about that it's probably going to be more cost effective to us not to have Oakwood. unfortunately, Angela's not here, no offense to you, but she gave us all the reasoning why. I can get some paperwork on that and everyone can understand how apples and oranges and how it all pans out, and we can get the chief here as well. So stay tuned for, we'll do an updated meeting sometime. I'll have to check. We just got our schedule on that, but we knew about the money's end of it, and it's not as negative as it all sounds initially. And that's probably why nothing was actually ever said, because we knew it wasn't going to impact us in a negative way. So let me get some paperwork from Angela or from Nicole, and then we can set up a meeting and we can have the chief here as well.
Yeah. Well,
Sound good?
yeah, and I'm not saying to hurry, because maybe when you know the dates, when these people, if they're going, are they going?
That's what I thought.
And then also Cuyahoga Valley might throw that in there.
I'd like to wait till about March, till we know a little bit more about what their plans are. But I certainly can get something, I can have Angela put something together, and then once we know a little bit more about what the other community's permanent decision is, then we can schedule a meeting, and then everybody knows.
And I don't
But
want
at
to take
this
up.
point, it
sorry.
was also still in flux. But I just knew about the monetary, and it didn't sound as negative as it initially sounds, like, oh my God, we're losing Oakwood. So we'll do that.
Yeah.
We'll get some more info.
And I don't want to take.
No,
take
for the
any
village,
much more time.
for our residents, nothing changed.
No,
Nothing changed for the
for
village.
us.
Service
No,
stays
but-
the
but
same.
it's
And that's
fiscal-
why I think we should stay, as mayor, I'll say on record as safety director, as long as we can, I think we should dispatch for ourselves. If, the only way I would be in favor is if we're gonna
Well-
get a better service for our residents. Okay, if we're paying a little more, fine, it costs us a little more, fine. If we can't afford it, I guess that's one thing, council have to make a decision. But to go out to a different dispatch, I know it's me, I guess, but I don't have the vote. But I certainly have a mic. If it's not the best thing for the residents, I'm gonna voice my opinion about it.
There's nothing wrong with that, Mayor. I'm glad to hear anybody's opinion, any of the 5 councilmen and that, but there is always money considerations, because now with Glen Willow, you're talking $200,000 a year plus 3% a year. So now that in 10 years, that's $2 million. So I'd like to hear what we're paying to these people and how many and how much benefits and this and that. So yeah, it is a money thing too. Safety, absolutely. I like that we have a 24-hour ambulance here, right here in the middle. I mean, call 911, call the police department, and they're going. So no, there is money. Years ago,
Oh, I said money's an issue.
years
I mean, I have to look at, it, but
years ago, we had.
it's gonna have to be a big
I would
impact,
call it
to sacrifice safety.
Years ago, we had
Why people move here.
what I called a monster police department years ago. And we spent a lot of money because, and I won't say the police chief that was here, he liked the big police department. Everybody loved police and protection and coverage, no doubt about it. But we've toned it down. We're spending a lot less. And as people, I think, retired policemen, then we don't have anywhere near as many full-time, and we're using auxiliary. And now we're spending a heck of a lot less money than we did 15 years ago with a different police chief. So, yeah, money is a factor, but safety is the best. I don't want to we got the wheels going. That's all I wanted to get going. No. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other, yes. You have to come up to the mic. Give your name and address.
My name's Jeff Hercules. I live at 16190 Egbert Road. And I have 2 questions. You're gonna have to forgive me. This is probably old business for you, but I haven't been to a meeting at all. Regarding RETA tax. How did we get wrapped up to that? What's the procedure? How did we get wrapped up in the RETA? I mean, how did that happen? I don't know what the procedure is, how they sucked us in the RETA. Can you explain that to me?
Anyway, yeah, you can go and then I can give my,
Mayor?
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, again, welcome. Good to
Thank
see
you.
Thank you, sir. Years ago, we had Rita years ago, and we left Rita because they weren't, they were costing us exponentially more money every year. And our fiscal officer at the time said, and he had help in his department, he said, I can do all of this, and I can look and better serve our community and look where we're missing money, like in license tax, auto license tax, fuel tax, things like that. And he did capture some more of that money for us. But our personnel, for the last several years, we've had 1.5 people in that department. And Rita, over the last few years, has changed. They've done a 180-degree turn. Their services have become infinitely more than what they had before. Their customer service has become a lot better. And they're doing a lot more for the communities now than they did before. They came, we were in a position where with our employees, we were having a lot of trouble keeping up with all of the tax. We were doing it, but with much trouble keeping up with all the tax stuff that had to go out in the village. And they came and they made a presentation, and not only our fiscal officer, but several fiscal officers, if I remember correctly.
Past fiscal officer.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, the fiscal officer that recommended he do it for us called our mayor and said, you need to go back to Rita, because they can do it so much better now. They've just changed. So they came and they gave us a good presentation. As a matter of fact, that may be on YouTube.
I think so.
You may be able to search that.
Yeah,
on
that
YouTube
meeting was taped.
and see their presentation, at least what, what they offer. And the money for what we are going to pay them, we would be paying in an employee that does a lot less for us than Rita is going to do for that same money. So that's why we went with Rita.
But that, it adds taxes to people like
No,
me.
no,
No.
nothing changes.
No?
Nothing
No,
changed.
that's the thing.
No.
It's not an impact to the residents at all.
Oh,
You're gonna pay your 2.5% regardless. No, it has
Okay.
nothing, no.
okay.
That's the part that's, yeah.
That's the part, 'cause when I lived.
Yeah, that's an important part.
When I lived in Strongsville, I lived everywhere else, that I had on my check, Rita,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
so much and so much, and that came out of my gross. you know,
Right.
So,
No, the
Right,
unit hasn't
nothing's
changed. That part hasn't changed.
okay.
It's just that instead of
So it's not,
administratively, they're doing it instead of us.
it's not costing me anything,
No.
No,
anything extra,
No,
no.
okay.
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
Chairman, yeah, just, one of the big things that we all looked at was the fact that this Ford plant is going in up here, and there's gonna be so many people working up there, not only with the construction part of it, but once the buildings are complete. And Rita has the ability to put a man up there, not only 1 day, but 2 days, a week, whatever it takes,
For the purpose of what?
for the purpose of us getting the tax money instead of the tax money going to another city.
Okay.
In other words, they're working in Walton Hills now, okay? So we're hoping that Rita is gonna capture, in which they showed us in their presentation, that they do capture more money and bring it back, for each village. And we're not the only village to go back to Rita, or the only city to go back to Rita. Basically all the surrounding cities and villages in this area have gone back to Rita. So it looks like a win-win situation for us, because now we don't need to pay that extra tax.
Sure.
So,
For an employee of Walton
exactly,
Hills.
exactly.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead, John.
It'd actually be 2 employees that we would have to run the tax department.
Okay.
So it more than covers the cost of what 2 employees plus benefits and things like that. And as everyone said, we just felt that the services were so vastly improved and nothing changes for our residents at all, except who's collecting their payroll tax for the village.
Okay, okay.
And they have a Bruxville and they have an office in Bruxville. I think the really thing that is, and this is what I said, talking to the former fiscal officer, who brought him in, because at the time, it was a big switch for us to go to our own tax thing, and I was on council with Mr. Spitzenagel, and he said, well, we'll be able to collect more money. The difference is today, they have access, Rita has access to the federal tax base, okay? So they see the federal returns where people are working, not so much people, but businesses. Okay, it's our concern is we want to get all the businesses that have employees that should be paying us. That, as Mr. Nielsen said, that up there, we're gonna have a lot of employees. They actually have a whole department that goes and looks and reviews new businesses, new departments that we don't have, and they have access to the federal taxes. So when I asked that former fiscal officer, said the big thing, Mayor, is they have access. And what they said in the presentation, if you catch it on YouTube, is because they do so many communities, the size gives them that ability to have that access. We are too small to have that access.
Who pays Rita? Who pays their employees? Them, right? I mean,
They
where's
probably
that?
come from the money. We have to pay Rita it was about 74,000 a year around that.
I see, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But we're hoping that we're gonna get more in return.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
So,
And the second question I have is, I recently paid my house off, okay?
good for you.
You know,
Time for retirement.
fine. Okay, so my property taxes were in my payment as for the last 15, 16, 17 years, you know, and I didn't realize, when I moved into this village, man, my taxes were like my particular parcel was $2,800 and some change. Now it's $42.55. Okay, I was shocked, you know, because I have to start paying it myself now out of my I have to write the checks now, you know. How did this happen, man? You know,
That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know we're all in the same predicament, you know, but how did this happen?
How they value.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Reed.
Maggiano, is that,
Pardon me?
what was your last name again?
Hercules.
Hercules. Okay. Yeah, there's a couple things. There's a lot that goes into why taxes increase. And some of it is
My
not,
house is less valued than it is when I bought it.
well, that kind of refutes what I was getting ready to say. Because I know in 2021, there were some reassessments of Cuyahoga County.
Yeah, mine went down.
Yours went down.
Yeah.
But then there's also, you also have impacts of school district, but there has not been any levy, so there should be no increase there. But Cuyahoga County, Cuyahoga Community College, Port Authority, Library, when
Metro
those,
Parks.
yes. So when those levies pass, those also will impact your taxes. Yes.
I'm like 30% more. I mean, roughly 30% is when I moved in here. You know, that's a chunk, man, you know?
We're
And
still, I
got
think,
this-
in the top 5 in Cuyahoga County of lowest
Yeah.
taxes. Don't hold me to, I gotta look. Last time I,
Now,
Right.
and Mayor, I'd like to point out to the gentleman that out of that money you're paying, Walton Hills itself will get
I saw that.
maybe $200, something
It's
like that.
ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
absolutely ridiculous. It's a
$16 for
crime.
every
Yeah.
$100,000 of value.
It's a crime. It truly is a crime, you know?
But
Go ahead,
Mr.
Ray.
Mr. Hercules, but there are some increases in your taxes that are connected to Walton Hills. That was your assessed,
Yeah, I remember a
okay,
couple
all of
years
that
ago,
is in there.
the
too.
operating and the
This
the maintenance
garbage,
and all that.
Right.
garbage.
Yeah.
Right, so that shows up on your tax, all of that.
Man, but I was just shocked. I was shocked when I got this. And that's why I had to come today. You know, just to say, this is insane. We all got this paper here, this blue paper with our taxes. And there's some things up here I just don't understand. You're gonna have to forgive me. These categories are voted tax rate, effective tax rate, tax as a percentage of market, effective tax rate, and tax as a percentage of market. Does anybody know what this even means?
You can call the county auditor, he can explain all of that to you.
Yeah,
I understand, yeah, I
Yeah, they can
understand all
explain
that.
all of that. There's actually, the website's super helpful also. If you go to, Cuyahoga County, the website,
Okay,
then you can find some information there, or you can contact them.
but there's no way we can adjust this, make it lower. Come on.
No,
You gotta help a poor man out.
I know, hey, believe me, I cringe when I see mine.
Yeah, so that's all I really had. I just wanted to address the Rita and the property taxes that just blew my mind. So, that's all I have.
All right, good,
Mr.
thank
Mayor?
you.
Thank you for coming tonight.
yeah.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead, John.
Mr. Hercules, I don't know if you heard, but we get approximately $16 for every $100,000 of value your home is. So that's why Walton Hills has a very small penny of that pie, and there's not anything we can really do to change the rest of it.
That's the way it's always been. It's always been like that, because I used to live next to Thelma, or one house down from Thelma, and we talked about that a few times, you know? And, one last question, I'm sure everybody knows, but what's going on up here at the Ford plant? I mean, what's that building?
You're looking, that's that building right there in the center there.
What is it? What's it gonna
That
be?
They have, right, as of today, it is not leased out. Okay, so they're building it, I mean, it would be as a spec. They think by the time it's closed up, they said the 4 walls that they'll have it leased out. So we're expecting to hear something soon.
Yeah, good.
They got a big investment there. They're talking about putting it, that's that building right there. That's the landscape that was approved. That's the corner. That's Smith and Obie. That's gonna be across the street.
Yeah,
That one there, that was approved. That doesn't have the landscaping on it though.
okay.
So, but we'll bring up a good point, because everybody should be, give ourselves all credit. We don't survive on, like a lot of communities in Cuyahoga County survive on taxes. They have a very high tax rate because they don't have industry or businesses. We survive, as you said, you would, and Mr. Thelman talked years ago, on payroll tax. Okay? That's why that and all that is the key
Sure.
to divide, and make this community the community it once was, it still is, but to bring back more police, maybe if we can afford it, keep our services the way they are, maybe even improve them. That is the key. That economic development that's been happening in this village is the key to the success of this village. There's no doubt, because the more money that comes in, the more you can do for your
Maybe
residents
we'll
and your
have
community.
An ambulance here.
So we
for
are
us.
very, very proud of what's going on up there. That is one of the most talked about properties in Cuyahoga County. There's just no doubt about it. That question, what's great is we were putting it putting it in the journal, this and that, until those 4 walls went up in the last 3 weeks, people took notice, No one paid attention to the slab, because what you don't see is hard to imagine. But once those walls went up, the phone calls started. It's a great thing.
Mayor,
Yeah,
could you
good.
tell the gentleman about the TIF on the
Yeah.
property?
All right. No, we're good. Thank you, John. So we put a tax increment financing, it was mentioned in the journal
Yeah.
on that property, that first building, that building there, and NPK, which did an expansion too, and it is pretty much complete. Which just kind of, and I'm sure Nicole could probably explain it a lot better than me, but just basically, we're gonna, instead of all the tax dollars going to property tax going to Cuyahoga County, It's gonna come back to us, the improvements they make, it's gonna come back to us. We're looking, and I'm gonna get some, I would like to put it in the journal, I'm gonna have Matt Stawinski kind of give us a good rundown. It has been filed, all three of those tips were filed. When maybe we can expect something, or what that amount can be with him giving some projections. One of the projections he gave us, and he gave us to us in a meeting, and it's on YouTube too, that first building, they're looking at maybe we would get about $90,000 a year for 30 years just on that first building. And there's 5 buildings projected, and one of the buildings is double that size. It's 500,000 square feet.
Wow.
These smaller projects, the improvements, there isn't as much, but we're gonna get more. I know that's something that I'd like to get kind of, even if it's just a projection, I'm hoping he can. Nicole, I don't know if you want to add anything more about the tips, if thing, just to kind of give you an idea, I should have gave a little bit. Nicole is a fiscal officer in Bentleyville. In fact, in Cranes, they were, I think, #1 in median, income?
Yeah.
We made the list too. We were 30 something, but.
And plus, when people start seeing the success of this stuff, it's gonna suck in other people. It's gonna say, wow.
Oh, it's happening.
Walton Hills has got something going on over there.
Our Crick Road area, is things are, people, there's one building that, they're moving the tenants out, they wanna renovate, things are happening, things are going up for sale. I mean, we've seen what happened with the battery place, all of a sudden the battery place, the owner demoed it. You know, I'm sure something's gonna happen there, they feel what's going on.
Yeah,
You
good.
know, it's,
Cause I heard all kind of things about that property up there, like retails, like, Legacy Village at one time and.
No.
no, it's
No.
zoned, it's zoned.
Yeah, but,
Zone for that.
Yeah.
okay.
Zoning won't
All
allow.
right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from the live stream, Jennifer, that we missed, that we don't want?
Nope.
Many of you have?
8. And we did have a comment that the recording sounds good tonight, so please
Oh,
continue to
good.
talk into the microphones.
Mayor Colbert.
Yes, Mr. Weed.
If I may make a follow-up comment.
Yes.
First of all, I just want to appreciate both Mr. Nowicki and Mr. Hercules for coming and sharing their questions and concerns. There's, engaged citizens make this village better. Very simple. It makes this village better. And I also want to say that in the discussion that we just had a sort of a dichotomy, one where we are a service provider and one where we purchase a service. And just like with our RETA piece, we had to do our analysis whether or not that was the right thing to do. Mr. Nowicki is suggesting, and our safety chair, Councilwoman Mary Brenner Miller, has said that she will get that information and schedule a
Sure.
meeting. So I just want to say to our chair, safety committee chair, I'm available as sooner the better, in my opinion, for us to be able to take that, do our analysis. What is to put on paper? What is the best?
I would like to speak to Angela first.
Sure.
Because this is still in flux with, working with Oakwood and even Glen Willow. So, and I need to get the figures from her. So I'm really gonna depend on her, and then I'm gonna wanna get the chief in here. And as soon as I can get everything all wrapped up, I'll make sure I let you know.
I'm available.
I'm thinking probably next month, because we're still waiting also on the surveys. We've got a lot of things in the mix, and then we've got the year end coming up and the budget. So, I will definitely touch base with her, and I'm sure she'll pull you in on all that, but, it's really gonna depend on her when I, get this meeting scheduled.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And Mayor?
Yes.
Concerning Mr. Nowicki's question, yeah, you're absolutely right, though, that analysis has to take place. The only constant is change, right?
Yes.
We're always dealing with changes, and another thing we've got a police contract coming up too.
That's right.
So that all goes, it gets involved in that. How many personnel do we need? Do we need all the personnel that we have? And we're considering a budget, so obviously those numbers have to be gone over, that those employee numbers. I do know that most of the calls that dispatch handles are Oakwood calls. They're not Walton Hills calls. So, you know, that will have to go into the mix as the analysis of what actually do we need. And that would go into the 2023 final budget. So yes, you're absolutely correct. We
Got a lot to contemplate.
got a lot
and work
to do and a lot of work with the police department for their next contract also. So all that's going to go into the mix.
And as you mentioned, Mayor, we had to go 2 people per shift. Well,
That was in the contract. It's not.
well,
that
no,
we-
but to my point is, if Oakwood's gone, if Glenville's gone, don't want to say the word layout, but I'll say it out loud, you immediately got to get rid of
No,
one
we-
dispatcher per shift, 24 hours a day.
We've had dispatch,
And
but
you've
we
already-
will not have any layoffs.
Well, the idea is you can't have 2 on a shift.
But there isn't 2 on a shift.
Well,
as-
you told
Well,
me
that
before
was-
there was 2 on a shift,
No,
24
no, I
hours a
said,
day.
I
'cause
said
of
the
Oakwood.
contract was required. In the contract, they wanted it to. We've lost dispatchers, 'cause, you know, they've left, and we keep hiring. Retention of employees, and I don't care what business it is, and every community's feeling the same way, is tough right now. They leave. So we, as of right now, we've hired a couple dispatchers. We brought our level back up, as you guys have heard from the chief. But we're not at that level. We got 2 on some, but we also have people working overtime and stuff, Mr. Ricky. So it looks, as of right now, it looks good. We shouldn't have layoffs, and we'll have a dispatch department that won't be overstaffed.
Meaning 1 person per and no overtime.
Well, it just depends on what we'll see.
Mr. Mayor?
We'll see.
That's-
I'm not gonna comment on.
No, I get it.
We'll see.
I'm just
But we
throwing
will,
it out.
we have been, this council and the councils before this have been, we have done our due diligence on lowering, the payroll salary, by reducing our number of employees over the years. And we've done a good job, and the departments have had a good job, so I know we'll have the right staffing in there.
As Councilman Whedon said to Councilman Brenner, as soon as you know, and when you know Oakwood is done, and don't they have to give you notice in the contract? As far
Yeah,
as
they
so
did-
many days before?
They did, no, Tom, they didn't renew the contract. The contract expired, as I said earlier,
Okay, all right.
this expired at the end of this year. They said, we're not renewing it. What they asked us, can you still provide us
Okay.
dispatch?
I understand, you're correct.
Okay, and I said that even the last meeting before, and of course, they're our neighbors, we do fire with them, we're going to work with them. If they said, hey, can you provide dispatch? But now we don't have to provide the same dispatch that was in the contract. The contract is, they didn't renew the contract, okay? But we're still providing dispatch for them.
There's a lot of angles, and like Councilman Whedon said, the sooner we have a meeting, if we know, it makes sense to get going. And Glen Willow and Flux too, because they bump it up to 200,000 a year plus 3% with Glen Willow leaving, if Glen Willow's leaving. So that's even more reason to get more communication going. And I don't want 2 people on a shift if we only dispatch for Walton Hills.
Well, I will be in touch with-
I don't care any time of the day. If you have 1, however Shannon runs it, long as we have 1 person on per shift.
We have one person on
just
shift
Walton
right now.
Hills.
There's one person in there right now.
Yeah, that's right now, but 24 hours a day, 7 days a week covers a lot more than just,
Well, what I'm saying, we don't
Yeah.
have 2 on shift.
but we have
right.
some too.
So
Mr. Mayor?
it just depends. There's,
Mr. Mayor?
yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Nowicki, I would tell you that I respectfully disagree with you about 2 dispatchers. From a safety point of view, and there are times, I understand we do have 2 dispatchers, busy evenings such as Fridays and Saturday nights. You can have 1 dispatcher that is on with an officer, and you could be calling asking for help with CPR for your wife. If we've only got 1 dispatcher, You know, so there are times when two dispatchers is a good idea. 24/7 in the village, I don't believe so anymore, but
Well, look at what we just learned. There is a time for two. So this is the information that we're starting to learn, and this is why.
Well, our staff knows that, our chief knows that, our dispatch, manager knows that. I have staff under me that know how to run their department, and they run it. As a mayor, I don't need to micromanage them. If I had the chief here with Shannon right now, if you'd have said, hey, Mayor, I'd like these questions, I could have had them here, you can answer them questions. They would know, they'd have the answer to every one of your questions. So I don't want to give the people watching this the impression that we don't, maybe I don't have the answer, okay? Because I'm not a chief. And I'm not also the dispatch manager. I have people in power. I'm not also the, I might be the safety director, and I'm also the mayor, which is the chief administrator, okay? And I make decisions, but I don't run the department on an everyday basis. That's why I have this staff. And a good leader doesn't need to micromanage. You have good people you empower. That's what it's about. That's really, really what it's about. Those questions, if the chief was here along with Shannon, I'm sure those questions would have been answered very easily. A lot better than me. And then if they didn't, then I would probably have a little bit of a problem with that. You know?
I don't have the answers either, that's why I'm bringing it up, and I wouldn't
I just don't want
call,
anyone to assume that we're finding things out because those two people might know those answers, is what
Right.
I'm saying.
but I wouldn't call it micromanaging. When you lose two villages and $200,000 a year, it absolutely has to be looked at. Calmer heads
Oh, I wasn't
prevail.
referring to that. I was referring, you were talking about staffing. Now you're going back.
Well, staffing,
I-
yeah,
I-
staffing is,
you were
staffing
saying,
is
you know,
completely
Yeah,
part
but
of
I
it.
don't know.
Yeah, staffing is completely part of it. Yeah, all right, we're starting to beat a dead horse. We're getting in the right direction. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
All I know is this seat's gonna keep your village as safe as it can be, because that's what this job's about here. You're gonna have good services, you're gonna be safe. And if we pay a little more, I'm okay with that. If council wants to lessen it, and I know they don't. In fact, we've talked about increasing it. Correct, Mrs. Allen?
yes, absolutely, and it's Ms.
Ms., I'm sorry.
Yes. I have said publicly many times, if possible, I would love to have 5 officers on duty at all times. It's a safety issue, you know, so I think there's a lot of things. And safety is a big point. Before I was even on council in a meeting, I said that I was a safety role. That's what I believe in, big time, and I think it's one of the best services we can provide for our residents.
Well, you're on the front line. I guess you know a little bit about it when you're on the front line, right?
Just a little.
Any other questions from any other residents or anybody live stream?
Still have and no other comments yet.
Okay, well then why don't we move on? I'll do the mayor's report. Okay, this is for the month of December. Mayor's court revenue for the month of December 2022. The Walton Hills Police Department issued 91 citations in the month of December. The predominant violation was expired plates with 42 issued, followed by 10 citations issued for speed, and 7 citations issued for driving under suspension. We had no arrest for driving while under the influence of alcohol and drugs. That's one we like to see. Okay. Then I do have the monthly court report for December, and that is, it was $12,760.31. Year-to-date, $171,449.05. Last year-to-date, $269,699.80. Close to 100,000, a little less than 100,000. Okay. That is my 2 reports. Any council comments before we move on to the legislation?
Mayor,
Yes,
before we move on to the legislation, we did have another piece added.
Right, I was gonna-
that
go
we
ahead.
Did not.
Council
would you like
President.
to
No,
talk
you go ahead, Council President.
We did have another item E, cybersecurity insurance policy that was added onto the agenda. And that is $7,500 for the year.
Correct.
And in the packet that we got, it lists everything that covers. It is for the year 2023, $7,500. I won't go over everything.
Is that the wrong dollar?
Oh.
7,750.
I didn't put my glasses on.
Since we're
My
on the
wife
record.
yells at me all the time.
I just wanted to make sure,
Just
because
put
we're
your
on the
glasses
record.
on.
Here, it's right here.
7,007, there it is, right there, you're right,
Might stay on.
$7,750. Okay,
Just that we're on the record.
$7,750. Cyber incident response, $1 million. There's a bunch of these are $1 million coverages. For cyber crime, frauds, transfer frauds, $250,000 coverages. Councilwoman Mary Brenner Miller can probably speak a lot more intelligently about what some of this stuff means than I can, since she's in the insurance business. But I just wanted to throw out, there's a bunch of $1 million coverages for cyber things, for lost computer stuff, and like $250,000 for corporate identity theft and things like that. So that will be voted on tonight also.
Who would like to introduce that? I know we went,
Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to introduce that.
okay. Jennifer? For suspension?
Yes, for suspension, especially since this past week I got a email from the mayor that did not originate from him.
I know.
Exactly.
We all did.
too.
I get that, quite a bit. People say that they're getting emails from me that aren't mine. I'm a target, I guess, but I, talking to a lot of people they get it all off the internet, so.
Oh, you know where I got that?
When you don't have nothing, they can't get nothing from you, see, so that's a good thing.
Mayor, you know where I got that $7,500? It's on the second, if you go to your legislation and page over one,
Should be not to exceed, but.
it's premiums, maybe,
Yeah.
it,
The previous year.
term premium, $7,500.
That's the quote.
That is our premium. I'm vindicated.
You still didn't have your glasses on.
Even though I didn't have my glasses on. $7,500.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Mr. Spitznagel, these are pretty traditional
Okay.
limits, nothing unusual. $1
Okay.
million limit's good. So unfortunately, we need it in our world.
Yes.
Yeah, this is probably what, our third, fourth year, something
Yeah.
like that?
We didn't always have it.
We didn't
I
always have
couldn't
it.
believe you didn't have it, to be quite honest with
Yeah.
you. So I was glad when we got it.
Okay, any other council comments before we move on to the legislation?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I have one thing, I'd like to pass, the minutes from, last, economic development meeting,
yeah, you can do that in this meeting.
okay? Mr. Wheaton.
Is there a motion?
Uh,
From one of your community
I have-
members, or you make the motion, or
Mr. Mayor, well, I'll make the motion.
is it, I mean, are you a member of the committee? Who's ever a member of the committee
Yeah.
has to make the motion?
Yeah. that's
Were
my
you
check.
Were you there?
Yeah, Mayor Colgrove,
Yes,
I offer a motion that we would approve the minutes from the December 6th Economic Development meeting.
Second,
second, vote on your motion. Mary Brenner Miller,
yes.
Fred Nielsen,
Yes.
Raymond Whedon.
Yes.
Okay, your minutes are passed
Thank you.
at
Mr. Mayor.
7:58 PM. Any other council comments?
Wait till you run it.
Yeah. They-
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I would like to introduce for suspension Resolution Number 2023-1, a resolution confirming the appointment of Robert Kalman as Street Commissioner for the Village of Walton Hills, Ohio, for the period beginning February 1st, 2023 through January 31st, 2024, and declaring an emergency.
Is there a second?
Second.
Vote on the motion.
Councilman Nielsen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Okay, suspension passed.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption of Resolution 2023-1 for Rob Kalman as Street Commissioner.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nielsen. Vote on the resolution.
Councilman Nielsen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Adoption passed. Congratulations, Mr. Kalman. Okay, thank you, council. Item B,
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Spitznagel.
I'd like to introduce for suspension Resolution 2023-2, a resolution confirming the appointment of Natalie Buck as the part-time Recreation and Community Life Recreation Director for the Village of Walton Hills, Ohio, for the period beginning February 1st, 2023 through January 31st, 2024, and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Second by Mr. Whedon. Vote on the suspension.
Councilman Nielsen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes. Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Spitznagel.
I'd like to ask for adoption of Resolution 2023-2.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Whedon. Vote on the resolution.
Councilman Nielsen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Okay, adoption passed. 5-0. Thank you, everybody. Congratulations, Natalie. Okay, item C,
Mayor Colograph
Mr. Whedon.
and members of council, I'm introducing resolution for suspension. Resolution number 2023-3. A resolution reappointing Joseph L. Gelati as a village engineer, fixing the duties and compensation for said position, providing for other municipal engineering services for the village of Walton Hills from Chagrin Valley Engineering Limited, and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Who got it?
Fred.
Okay.
Stereo.
Who was it, Brett?
It's Fred.
Or, okay. Seconded by Mr. Nielsen. Vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen.
Yes.
That was the suspension, right? Yep, we're good. Okay.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner
Vote on
Miller.
the suspension,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Suspension passed, 5-0.
Mayor Colograph and
Mr. Whedon, Councilman Whedon.
and members of council, I'd like to ask for the adoption of resolution number 2023-3.
Is there a second?
Second. Second.
Second by Mr. Spitznagel. Vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 2023-3 passed, 5-0. Thank you, council. Item D,
Mr. Mayor,
Mary Brenner Miller.
I'd like to introduce for suspension, Resolution 2023-4. A resolution providing the sale of personal property by internet auction with the terms and condition thereof in 2023 and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Second by Jennifer Allen. Vote on the suspension.
Councilwoman Nielsen. Councilman Nielsen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Okay, suspension passed.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption of Resolution 2023-4.
Second.
Second by Mr. Nielsen. Vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Okay, adoption passed of resolution 2023-4. Thank you, council.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for suspension, introduce for suspension, resolution number 2023-5. Yes, I want to be sure I had the right one.
You
A
got the right
resolu-
one.
A resolution authorizing the mayor and the clerk of the village of Walton Hills to enter into an agreement with the CFC Underwriting through the Love Insurance Agency for a cybersecurity insurance program effective January 20th, 2023 through January 20th, 2024, and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Second by Mr. Nielsen for suspension. Vote on suspension.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes,
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes,
Okay, suspension passed.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption of Resolution 2023-5, the cybersecurity insurance policy.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Fred Nielsen. Vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
yes,
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
yes,
Okay, thank you, everybody. Resolution 2023-5 passed, 5-0. Thank you, council. Okay, old and new business. I just got a couple things here. One thing, and we'll get it on the website tomorrow. I know it's on the police Facebook. We received today, this morning. I'll just read it. I'm gonna, it's not too long, but I'll just read short, the first part. This is from Kevin Smalley. He is our first energy rep. And this is something that happens every so many years. Good morning. Please be advised that on approximately 1/2023, weather permitting, Chesapeake Bay helicopters will be mobilizing to the Illuminating Company region to begin performing comprehensive visual inspections on all Illuminating Company 138 kV lines. These inspections are expected to take approximately 5 to 6 weeks to complete. However, any storm or outage related patrols could prolong completion. A helicopter to be used as follows, and they give us, so our police and our safety forces know what's going on. So just to let everyone know, you might see the helicopters are inspecting their lines throughout their serviceable area. So that's that. I did receive this on Friday. Greetings, mayors, directors, and administrators of District 6, that's our district. On behalf of Councilman Schron, I'm pleased to announce that the second round of funding for District 6 is available and applications are now being accepted. The submission process will be the same as round 1. Attached, please find the request for proposal and application. The application deadline is Friday, February 10th, 2023. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you and have a nice weekend. Me and Mr. Kalman talked a little bit today and he had some discussions with Joe. I know we talked about after seeing the first round, we're thinking about submitting for the roof here. Because it seemed like it fell into some of those categories. And so if anybody else has any other suggestions, I'm sure we'll talk about it. I'll let you know once the thing. So that's good. We did well on the first round, so hopefully we'll do good on the second round. So,
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
if I could make a suggestion that we could possibly find out about the light in the lower parking lot with those monies
Okay.
as a possibility. I know that it's extensive work, Rob said, because it's all underground wires.
Some communities did submit 2 applications. That's something I mentioned to Rob that we might do too, so, but that could be included also with this. So, okay, good,
Thank you.
good. Anybody else have anything for old or new business?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
just for new business, just a reminder, Finance Committee, February 14th, that would be prior to our regular COW committee. And I will get with the mayor and Angela to
And Nicole.
And Nicole, I apologize. And that's right, and Nicole, to, hopefully we can get some more numbers for discussion for the 2023 final budget. And one thing that Ms. Allen suggested that we look at, which we've discussed before in brief, but it dropped by the wayside, was term limits for boards and commissions. So I would respectfully ask that be on one of the COW agendas for preliminary discussions. See what we can do about those, and in the meantime, I think the mayor already has the list of the boards and who's, and it's on our website too.
Yep.
So we can put a one-page thing for everybody, so we can just see it, what we have going on, as far as who's coming up and the numbers of people and things like that. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, question?
Yes.
For
Mr.
Council
Whedon.
Spitznagle?
Yes, sir.
There was a time on that 5:30?
We've historically been doing them at 5:30, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were doing 5:30 or
6:30.
6, depending, or 6:30, it really
Yeah,
depends on the committee
yeah,
and what, but
I know.
finance, I think, is a longer one.
Yeah, Councilwoman Brenner Miller has a rough time getting here. Right at
Sometimes.
5:30 sometimes, so we can preliminary put it for 5:30 or put it for 6 o'clock or 5:45. It doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
I mean, how about 6 o'clock? That way it'd make it easier
That would be
for you
great.
to-
I would
Is
appreciate
everybody
it.
acceptable to that?
Right, and it's a COW meeting, so if we run over into, it's
Yeah,
not,
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you very
detrimental.
much.
6 o'clock.
Anybody else have anything for old or new business before I ask for an adjournment? Well, I guess at this time, I'd like to ask for adjournment. Make a motion for adjournment.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the regular council meeting of January 17th, 2023.
Second.
Second by Mr. Whedon. Vote on the motion.
Councilman Nielsen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller,
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen,
Yes.
Councilman Whedon,
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagle.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned at 8:11 PM. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Jeff? Jeff, did you bring my garbage can up?
I'll show you how to get out of it.